Why do you think so many people struggle with effective communication in their lives? What could be some of the reasons?
I think people tell themselves stories, stories that aren't true, stories that we learn from society, stories that are passed down from our parents, and think about what are the stories that you hear about if you tell your story. And it could be anything from your people are going to say you talk too much. People are going to think that you're too self-centered if you talk about yourself. So that's rude. You can't talk about yourself. Or in some families, it's we don't talk about family secrets outside of this family. So there's a whole number of reasons. Or nobody's going to want to hear your story. Shut up. Or real men don't talk about how they feel. Real women don't talk about how they feel.
Yeah, there's a number of things that could push someone down where they keep it in. And there's this book that I've been putting off to read called The Body Keeps a Score when it comes to trauma, right?
Absolutely. Yes. How come
Right?
how come you haven't read it yet?
Is because I'm reading. I have a reason. It's not me justifying it, right? I actually legitimately have a reason. So there's two books that I'm reading now. Actually, one's from a marriage couple. Two people who married and they handle marriage couples. That sounds a lot better than a marriage couple's couple. And there's like another one. So my partner and I, we got them together. She hasn't started reading it yet, and I'm like a third through the first one.
Wow.
She says that she can get all the information from me. I'm like, well, that's not the point. I could be lying. Right? She's like, oh, you don't lie. I was like, I don't, but I could. But anyways, so I want to read that book because it demonstrates how your body keeps the score of your trauma, right? Like in
Yes.
different areas. So when someone is keeping things inside of themselves, I can't imagine the damage it's doing to their body, right?
Yes. So we talked before about the study that said, did I cut you off? Okay, so we talked about the study about the couples that said that they never argued. And so if you're constantly keeping things in, then those emotions store in your body and become have a physical manifestation. There's actually a whole book about you can look up pain. This is a little bit, on the woo side, but there you can look up like pain in my right foot and it'll tell you what it's probably related to. That I think pain in the right foot is something like you have a calling or something that you're driven to, and you're not actually taking that first step. So then it manifests as pain in your right foot. So what happens is emotions, there's two different pieces to this, right? Emotions are different than feelings, right? So follow me with this on a second. So emotion is supposed to be energy in motion. So the emotion comes in, and let's say we'll just pick one, betrayal. Okay. So let's say I always have this thing I'm playing with. Let's say that the emotion comes in and you're like, bam, I just felt betrayal. And usually when I talk to people and they're like, I felt betrayal, and they put their hand wherever that actually starts to sit in their body. For a lot of people in their like heart chakra, like, oh man, that really hurt. Feelings are the stories that you tell yourself about that emotion. Wow, what did I do to deserve that? I don't deserve for anybody to love me. Everybody's always hurt me. Now these are stories that you're telling yourself. They're all related to this emotion that's supposed to be in motion. When you tell yourself the stories about that feeling, now it starts to manifest. That's where it starts to implement to stick in your body, and then can continue to cause physical ailments. So your body does keep a score, particularly with trauma. What you should do, right, is when you feel this, let yourself feel it for a second. What is that? What am I feeling? Oh, that's betrayal. Whew, first of all, you got to breathe out. Right. I'm going to let this continue to be in motion, and I experience it and let it pass through without the stories.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there's sometimes where someone will feel something and you feel like, oh, Terrain, I feel like warm inside. Okay, where do you feel it? It's usually in the chest area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, emotions are energy and motions, and then that's because of what we're telling them. Okay, what is it that I feel? This is what I feel. Explain it, bring it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could there then be maybe a disconnect between what the person is experiencing emotionally and what they're telling themselves is happening?
Completely, because our ego gets in the way. Our ego has all kinds of stories from our history that tells us this is what this means. This is how I experience this. Other people are probably thinking this about me, whatever. Those are all the stories.
And
Absolutely.
those stories would come from where? Like previous trauma, their childhood, something else?
All of it. Uh, Family stories about what does this mean? My previous experiences, my ego telling me that I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy of love, and this is how it's always going to be. And all of it. They can come from anywhere. Generational stuff, previous experiences, and previous experiences, by the way, that probably happened when you were a child. So the way that you processed whatever this trigger is for you, you develop the response to it when you were a kid. So your response is, and then all those stories. As an adult, we forget to tell that child that's not true. That's all crap. Like, oh, nobody likes me and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff's crap. Those are the stories. But we hold on to that same response that we developed when we were a child and had very different capabilities.